I love the color yellow. It's such a happy, sunny color. It just makes me feel good. When I was little, I had the yellow Care Bear, the Funshine Bear that represented fun and sunshine, and I just loved it. So this is your dose of funshine today with my Care Bear stare. But on a more serious note, when it comes to corruption, when it comes to those who are in positions of power that misuse their roles, misuse their titles, misuse the resources available to them and the connections, abuse their power to bully and target and violate the rights of other people. That is a common theme of so many of us who are targeted individuals in our stories, is we're being bullied by those receiving a paycheck to protect and to serve. Where do we turn for help when the most dangerous people are the ones that are supposed to be helping us as crime victims? Here, instead of protecting us from perpetrators as we're being victimized over and over again, instead they're joining in and victimizing us as well. So less fun, less sunny topic when it comes to those in positions of power, those in high places that choose evil. And as a woman, it's been especially terrifying to be stalked, harassed, exploited, violated, deal with peeping toms, objectified as a woman, as a sexual object by those who are supposed to be protecting me. And that's a terrifying reality of many of our stories, whether male or female. Where do we turn for help? It can feel so discouraging. And yesterday I just took a day, normally I do really well at staying in an attitude of gratitude and feeling positive and being able to stay pretty happy in spite of so much injustice that has occurred in my situation, as in many of your situations. The days go on and I plead to God, when will this be made right? I've been robbed, I've been violated, my rights have been stripped from me, I've been slandered, my name's been smeared, I've been disrespected, I've been bullied. Like, when is this gonna be made right? And yesterday was a hard day. I just focused on self-care, nurturing myself, and getting through that. And all of us go through that, where there are just days that are so overwhelming, and all you can do sometimes is cry out to God and go, please, please make this right. Please protect us from people that are being dangerous in their positions, that are violating and breaching the public trust, to discriminate and to bully and to attack people just because they don't like them, or they want to, or they're doing a favor for someone. These are incredibly dangerous people that the community needs to be aware of. And it's an even greater corruption for those that know our stories, know what's happening behind the scenes, and don't speak up, that don't protect us, that don't do the right thing, are just as equally corrupt. And it's just heartbreaking, because I was raised in a generation that, you trust law enforcement, you trust the legal system, you trust people in positions of power, you trust authority. And I want to live in a world where I can believe that's a reality, where people honor their oaths and are ethical and have courage and integrity. And it's just so heartbreaking when you experience people in positions that should have all of those qualities, those good characteristics to serve their communities, and are masking themselves, that are bullying people under the guise of religion and justifying abusing another human being under the guise of religion, that we're somehow justified in going on witch hunts and attacking people and smearing their name and spreading lies and gossip about them and doing indefinite damage to people because we feel entitled to. And so my heart goes out to all that are experiencing this, because there's definitely days that I do better at processing it and getting through it, and other days where it's like, when will this end? There are people that should be plastered all over the news for what they've done, yet corrupt people are protecting them. And I was thinking about a story where many years ago when I had my youngest daughter. She was just the sweetest little baby. She was so happy, just smiled all the time and just wanted to cuddle. She was very easy. And her first week of being on this earth, she, was thriving and eating well and just happy and healthy and doing great. And when she was 7 days old, we were in the car to take her for her 1 week checkup. And it wasn't until later in the afternoon, so we were in town running errands, going to Costco, doing things like that. And several hours before her appointment, I had this overwhelming feeling through my whole body. It was such a strong emotional feeling. Take her to the doctor now. And I looked back and she was just sleeping peacefully in her car seat. She seemed fine. Everything was fine. And so I thought, well, maybe I'm overreacting. And I told my spouse at the time, I have this really strong feeling we need to take her early to her appointment. And he was like, no, you're overreacting. Maybe it's your hormones, And so I paused for a little bit, and then again, just this overwhelming to where my body was shaking and I was tearful. No, we need to take her early right now. And the feeling, the force of that emotion was so strong. So we did. We took her in, and within less than an hour, she was on life support. She was in kidney failure and needed major heart surgery, and was put on a life flight to another state because the state we lived in didn't have a doctor that could perform the severity of the operation that she needed. She was rapidly dying, and that prompting, that instinct to take her then saved her life. The doctor said if we would have waited a couple more hours, she wouldn't have made it. But I got to fly on the life flight with her to Portland, and while we were up in the air on the plane, she was in an incubator on life support, and the generator went out. So she didn't have oxygen, and all the nurses on the plane were in a panic. The pilot was in a panic, and we were a ways from landing, and it was looking pretty bleak because she didn't have any life support going to her. And I remember just feeling so helpless as a mom, knowing that my child was probably going to pass away right in front of me, and there was nothing I could do. And I looked out the window, and there was this giant, vibrant rainbow, so large, so close to the plane, it was almost like I could touch it. And I remembered before my father died, he was a guitar player, and he wrote a song about rainbows, and to remember that whenever I saw a rainbow, to know he was there, my father was there. And the rainbow brought me such comfort that my father was there watching over. And the generator started working, and they were able to get her set back up on life support. We made it to the hospital. She was able to have her heart surgery. She had a full recovery, and everything was fine. And it was interesting because my mom flew in to see the baby because we didn't know if she was going to make it. And as soon as my mom got to the hospital, she said, when I was on my flight, I looked out the window and I saw the most beautiful rainbow. It was the most incredible rainbow I've ever seen. And it reminded me of your dad. And I knew he was there, and he was looking in on the baby and you. And I just felt like everything was going to be okay. And I had the same peace when I felt that rainbow, that I knew my father was there watching over. And I think that's a good reminder, whether we have a father that's here on this earth in our life that's protective and watches out for us, or our Father in heaven that looks out for us and protects us, that those times that we feel like crying out, God, when is our rescue going to come? When is help and deliverance from this injustice going to come? To remember that he is there watching everything. He sees everything, and he's working behind the scenes in ways that we don't understand. And things happen for reasons we don't necessarily understand. But if we trust that he's there and that he's working things out, that it will be okay, and we can find comfort and find peace in that.